I'm Matthew, and today we're looking at spelling. So we're going to look at what spelling is, how we could give deliberate attention to spelling, how we could deliberately learn how to spell better, and we'll also see how it fits into a course if we're using the four strands to balance out our learning. So if we look at our big chart here, we see spelling as in deliberate attention to learning spelling. This belongs in the general purpose activities. Um, Not much time overall in a course should be spent on this explicit learning of spelling. We'll look at why later. If you were to put this somewhere, it would go with language focused learning because we're giving deliberate attention to spelling, and it would go with writing because we use that to practice spelling. Now, what is spelling exactly? Now, we're thinking about alphabetic languages. And when I say alphabetic, I mean languages where they have a system of symbols, and those symbols represent sounds. So when we talk about spelling, we're thinking about languages that have a writing system where each individual, each symbol represents one sound, not a whole syllable. For example, Japanese has several writing systems combined into one, but they it has, for example, has a symbol for ka, ko, ki. Those are three different symbols. So one symbol represents the uh, ka sound, for example, whereas in another language there would be a symbol for the k and a symbol for the a, for example. And in spelling, we're not considering languages that have a more of a logographic system where each symbol represents an entire word or a chunk of a word or a meaning unit like Chinese. So, how do we learn spelling if we're using the four strands to balance our course? Learning spelling, you learn it the same way as you learn grammar, as you learn vocabulary, as you learn pronunciation. Um, just a small portion of the course needs to be spent with deliberate learning. The rest we're going to learn implicitly. So the language-focused learning strand is more about explicit learning, as in we're focused on learning something, as in we're studying how the spelling is done, we're making sure we're accurate, we're literally learning something. We might use rote learning, by the way. Um, but in the other three strands, we're focused with message-focused learning. So the brain is somehow um, mapping meaning without us even knowing it. So in the meaning-focused input strand, we are learning spelling through reading. In the meaning-focused output strand, we are learning spelling through writing implicitly. And through fluency development, we are learning spelling through reading. And in the fluency development strand, we are also implicitly learning writing, spelling through writing. So we have we've got a big chunk of the course where we are implicitly learning spelling, and this is through communication, basically. We are understanding what we're reading, and we are understanding and making decisions about what we're writing. This supports the learning of spelling. It really supports it. It's a much better use of time than sitting down and only deliberately learning spelling. So, how can we really give some focus to how we're learning spelling? So, we learn that through intensive reading and word cards. Any activity in the language focused learning strand can help with spelling. if writing's involved and if reading is involved. And the deliberate learning of spelling can also be done, and I'll demonstrate an activity for doing that at the end of this video. Just in case you weren't familiar with what a syllabary was, or an abjad, or alphabet, or a logographic system. Here we go. We've got English, car, and that is an alphabet. In Arabic, we've got sayara. Maybe my pronunciation is not so good. So we've got, there's a s, and this is a yeah. So yeah. So there's some vowel in there, but it's not represented with the writing system. You could include that with diacritics, as in a line, a little dash up here, and that would indicate a vowel, but that's not needed. And if you open up a novel and find the word car, you're not going to see that diacritics there. So it's focused mainly on the consonants. In Japanese hiragana, we've got this. So each one is ka. Actually, I don't remember how to pronounce this, but this is one syllable, as in ka. As in with English, it would be two symbols, as in a k and a a. So this is one syllable, and altogether it's car. There's also Japanese also uses this with kanji. So Japanese uses a logographic system with its syllabary as well. Now, in Mandarin Chinese, we've got the simplified and traditional characters, and these represent an idea, and it's chu in Mandarin. And there's nothing about this word that tells you how it's pronounced. Some Chinese, there are a lot of characters in Chinese that do give you a hint, as in they have a meaning component and a sound component that give a hint about the sound. But it's not as transparent as English is, for example. Okay, let's take a step back and let's think about what's needed in order to spell. So we're thinking about children right here mostly. So for young learners to learn how to spell, learn how to write, two things need to happen. They need to be phonemically aware. This means that the child is able to understand that they have the concept that words are made of separate sounds, and those separate sounds can be combined to make different words. So we're talking about age 6 and under. So you ask a child, what is this word? What is this? I, v, what's that word? If they're able to tell you it's 5, then that child has phonemic awareness. And they also need to have the alphabetic principle. So this means that those sounds can be represented using symbols. Just a note about phonics. So when you say using phonics, you're talking about learning the sound-spelling relationship with an alphabetic language. And that would be using phonics would usually be used to describe children who are learning how to read in their first language. So that means the children already know the word. They know the meaning of the word in their first language. They know how it sounds. So they're only learning how to recognize that word and learn how to spell that word. I see a lot of teachers, they'll teach children the word, and then it's like they immediately need to learn how to spell the word. That's too much at once. So spelling should be after knowing the word. So how do you practice spelling? How do we give deliberate attention to spelling and learn spelling? I'm going to demonstrate that in a bit. So you can make a list of the words on a piece of paper in the margin. After you have your list, you write the first letter of each of those words next to it. And then you fold the paper so that you can't see the words. You can only see the first letter of each word. And then from memory, you try to write those words out. And then you open the paper and you check what you've done. You continue that until you finish writing all the way across the paper. I'll show you a quick demonstration of how to do that.